Hi everyone. Today I will be reviewing In Retrospect by Treacy and Woodward. The logline reads, when a man's estranged wife gets lost inside of her own mind during an experimental procedure, he must navigate her subconscious to find her in the memories of their past. So, as you guys can tell, this has a very high concept sci-fi vibe to it, which is why I wanted to read it. It was featured on the 2018 Blacklist with 14 votes. So in terms of the summary, the script is essentially about James having to go into this experimental machine that allows you to go through different people's memories and find his wife. And his wife is essentially stuck in this machine. She voluntarily went in, and we don't know why. And he has to go and find her. So it has a very Inception-like feel to it, and I really love sci-fi and love reading sci-fi spec scripts. So I was excited to check this out. And overall, I was entertained. I would say I was pretty entertained by the mysteries and questions that the script posed. So, for example, questions like why did Sloane trap herself in the machine? Why is she so important to the scientist? Why did Sloane and James break up? But the real question is that's only half of it. The other question is, did the answers live up to the hype? And I would say it was a kind of hit and miss. So, obviously, there's spoilers ahead, but let me start with the good. I like the twist that James had essentially undergone a memory removal procedure himself, which erased the memories of his dead daughter, Emma. It did kind of come out of left field, but I didn't really mind because I was assuming something like that, something big was going to happen. I think I would have appreciated a bit more clues where we could maybe deduce that or go back and see, oh yeah. And the writers did do some of that cleverly, like there were these blank photographs that he was looking at and he didn't know what it meant, and it turned out those photographs or those frames were essentially would consist of the photographs of him and his daughter. So that's why they were erased. So I did like those clues that were thrown in, but I think a bit more could have been done because it just came out of nowhere. And throughout the script, it wasn't really clear as to why James and Sloane had broken up. So getting that answer finally, even though it was late, was nice because so far they were just hinting at common marital problems that many people may experience, like you're working too hard or you're being too selfish, types of really basic stuff. But having a dead daughter and you being the potential reason for it is definitely a reason why people would have a wedge in their marriage. So I did like that answer, even though it was pretty late. It certainly has this eternal sunshine of a spotless mind feel to it, especially when we're just jumping from one memory to the next that details elements of their relationship, like when they first met and when they first kissed. But I did feel the writers did some neat things with it, like they introduced these rules in terms of how he can communicate with a scientist by like picking up a phone or speaking to a mic, and how if he touches different objects, he can be transported to different memories depending on what terms of which memory the object associates with. And I'm a medical school student and I love studying about neuroscience, so I appreciated these little scientific stuff that they threw in, like how we associate different memories together, because it helped me believe in the story more. So in terms of the cons, I think the main thing is the script lacks tension. There was never a sense of actual stakes in the script. For example, what happens if James can't reach Sloane? The scientist will get mad and James can't meet her again. But he was already separated from her and living his life. And Sloane chose to voluntarily go in, which kind of showed initially, at least, that she preferred to live there rather than in reality. So in the end, it's revealed that this was an elaborate plan of hers to draw James into her memory so that she could expose to him why they broke up and show him that Emma was alive and that she actually existed. But she was never really in any danger. And there was no like real conspiracy out in terms of revolving around James and Sloane. So I never really felt a huge sense of danger or a sense of tension. And I wanted to see more of that in terms of why it's so important for James to get Sloane and save her from this. There's a similar movie called The Cell, which is about an investigator having to enter the mind of a serial killer to find the location of one of his victims. It's a pretty neat film, and you guys should check it out if you haven't seen it. But I think this script which is kind of dealing with similar themes, I think you could use some more of that thriller elements to spice things up. Because I feel right now the writers opted to go the dramatic version, where we're just focusing on their relationship and whether they're going to fall in love again and get back together again. But I feel like that version's already been done with Eternal Sunshine. I think it'd be more interesting to go the thriller route. So, for example, there's a character who's a scientist. Her name's Hale, and she tells James he can't trust the scientist. And I feel like that was just thrown in there, and it it piqued my curiosity because I wanted to know why can't he trust the scientists, but it's never really revealed what's so bad about them. They seem like decent people. They're just working on a research project. They even explain to James what's going on and what's happening. So it's never really hinted at that they're doing anything shady. They say it's all legal, it's all ethical. So I don't really see what what was that conspiracy that she was pointing at. But I think it'd be more interesting, like I said, to go that thriller route. So, for example, maybe Sloane was because she's this universal memory donor, she's being coerced into helping the scientists, and she chose the only path she could, which was to go into the machine, knowing that she's valuable and that the scientists can't harm her if she's already in the machine. And then they come and get James to help get her out, and James is oblivious to the larger plan. So, like, third act, instead of being this big reveal about Emma and the dead daughter, it can be about Sloane and James having to find a way to overpower the scientists and come out of there and break through together, and that could be their journey, something like that. It's just kind of something I'm throwing out there, but that's essentially what I'm saying, something a bit more of a thriller as opposed to drama, because I was curious to see how it ended, but if I'm honest, I was bored through the middle parts, because it was just him sifting through different memories. It was getting a bit repetitive. He was kind of making these observations and just kind of going through different memories, and it's like we get something every 10 to 15 pages, something new, but it was never enough to really make me real invested in the story. So I was only half satisfied with the answers in the end. So for that reason, I'm giving it a good, not great. I do think the writing was very good, and there were definitely very, very good parts to it. But I think overall, having just finished it now, I don't feel like the journey was as much of a payoff as I would have liked it to be. So let me know what you guys thought about the script, and stay tuned for the next video.